Humans. Humans everywhere. It's terrifying. I don't think I'd normally be so worried. A bunch of humans came to investigate after I captured and ate that one who screamed. They never entered the forest, though, keeping a respectful, cautious distance from the trees. The trees are my domain, after all. None of them smelled that tough. If they had gotten closer, I'm sure I could have killed them all in the forest. Yet now I'm terrified, because I'm not in the forest anymore. The human lands have no trees to hide behind or hang webs from. Vast, flat, the tallest things are flimsy grasses and the structures humans themselves reside in. This is their domain. Here, their ability to attack from a distance goes from an incidental consideration to a constant looming threat. Any human that I can see could pull out a bow and shoot at me, even if I'm well out of range to retaliate. One arrow, I can dodge. But an arrow from each human? There must be at least 10 tens of humans here. No, many times that number. Tens of tens of tens. At some point, the structures get so numerous that I can't see past them anymore. Each and every one of them wants me dead. So why am I walking towards them? Tall wooden towers dwarf the landscape, the humans up top no doubt able to see me coming for ages as I walk down the dirt trail driven through the landscape towards their settlement. Yet no alarm is raised, none of them sparing me more than a passing glance. My lower arms clutch tightly to the inside of my stolen cloak, holding it closed. Hood up, I must look like a small human. I hope I do. That is the goal, after all. I walk past the towers, stone buildings looming ahead as countless humans walk around between them. What am I even going to do when I get there? Start eating them? I'd surely die. Behind the towers, on each side of the main path into town, smaller wooden structures are dotted around, humans sitting behind them and shouting at passers-by. Hearty stew here. Salted directly from the mines. Fabrics. Dyed or plain, any income catered. Treats for the little ones. Fresh, imported fruit. It feels like I don't understand half the words being shouted, but the further in I get the more humans surround me, heading to and from the stalls, exchanging little chitin chips for whatever thing the yelling humans seem to have in abundance. The whole process enraptures me, overwhelming me with questions as I watch these rituals I have no hope of understanding on my own. Oh, hey there, sweetie. Are you lost? A human approaches me. I jump backwards, a bit startled. Had they been talking to me? It's one of the big humans, as opposed to the humans that are more my size. This one is wearing a long, flowing piece of cloth that encompasses both of its legs rather than the individual per-leg cloths that the hunters all wore, which I find interesting. I stare at it a while, accidentally meeting the human's gaze as it kneels down. Oh, whoa. Are you okay? The human asks. What's that on your face? I reach a hand up, double-checking the integrity of the bandage-like webbing I wrapped myself in to hide my features. Only the tiniest slits are open for me to see and breathe out of. I had no idea if this would work, but I was right. It's not attacking me. Humans really don't attack things that they think are other humans. Even ones they don't know. Why not? That's so strange. I am okay, I insist, increasingly aware of every possible mistake that could expose me. You sure? The human asks. Where's your mom and dad? I don't have any idea what those are. I don't know, I murmur, heart pounding in my chest. Seriously, what possessed me to come here? What am I doing? Okay, the human hums back. Well, that's all right. Where was the last place you saw them, sweetie? I don't have any idea how to answer that either, but the only place I could have ever saw anything is the direction I came from, right? I point back up the path, away from the human structures and towards the forest. The human's expression is as difficult for me to read as always. Oh, the human eventually murmurs. Oh, no. You poor thing. I'm so sorry. Alina, another human calls, this one taller and deeper voiced. It has the leg-by-leg cloth, too. Hey, there you are. What are you doing over here? Elias. I think something happened to this girl's parents on the road here. What girl? The Elias asks. I, of course, have already slipped away, using other humans like trees to break line of sight the moment the Elias took the other human's attention off of me. There's simply too much I don't understand going on in that interaction. I'm afraid I'll slip something up and they'll realize I'm not really one of them. Frankly, having all these humans so close to me is already driving me into a panic. My ravenous instincts start bubbling to the surface, each new smell a new meal that the core of my being wants to consume. I can't though. Not in this place. So why am I even here? Quickly, I scurry off the road, away from the crowds of delicious creatures and behind the small structures with the humans that yell about whatever objects they have nearby. I'm sweating. The webs on my face are itchy, but if I scratch with my claws even a little, I'll break them, expose my face, and die. Even as is, a lot of humans glance at me as I pass, staring at the white webs that hide my dark body. I can only imagine what their expressions mean, but I doubt it's good. I need a more human fake skin. I need a better way to cover my face. Or I need to do what I should have done in the first place, and not walk into the middle of a bunch of angry meals. Yet I'm just too curious. I want to understand, to know. When I figure out how this human colony works, I'll be able to start eating them safely. There are other wooden structures out here, away from the dirt path but well before the cluster of stone structures that seem to be where most of the humans are. Humans sit behind these too, yelling out whatever they seem to want to give away, but far fewer people are moving around between the stalls away from the road. One place in particular catches my eye. 3 humans are there, a large and small one outside the wood structure and the one sitting behind it. As usual, small chitin discs are given to the one behind the stall for an item in return, which looks like an oddly shaped round piece of wood. It's when the wood is given to the smaller human and it covers its face with it that I start walking closer. A fake skin for the face. That's exactly what I need. I creep closer, waiting for 2 of the humans to leave before walking up to the fake face acquisition structure with my hood pulled low. All sorts of odd knickknacks dot the stand alongside the wooden face covers, all of which are made of wood but none of which have a purpose I can divine. How best to take one? Hello there, little lady, the human in the structure exclaims. See something you like? I would like a face cover, please, I demand. Well, you're going to need some money for that. Money? Is that the word for the little chitin circles people have been giving to each other? Still, this human clearly hasn't thought of the obvious. I can just not give you any and take it anyway, I point out. It's an odd-looking human, even by human standards. Its face is wrinkled, its hair missing in all but its nose, ears, and thin patches on its head. It has an odd sort of thinness to its body, muscles taut over a frame that doesn't quite fit. Still, the human doesn't smell weak. I suspect it would make a wonderful meal. You probably could, the human agrees, lips quirking in an odd way I can't place. I'm not too fast these days. But if you do that, you can bet I'm going to track down your parents and tell them all about it. I look up at the human, forgetting to keep my hood down for a moment as I point towards the forest. If I have parents, they're a long way that way. Its expression drops, face softening considerably. The human takes in my wrapped-up face and hands in silence for a moment before answering. What's your name? It asks. Lark, I answer immediately. Lark, are you alone? Do you have a family? I'm alone, I agree, not understanding the word family well enough to answer. Why do you want a festival mask? To cover my face with, I say, a bit confused by this line of questioning. I'm going to take one now. It's nice to meet you, Lark, the human tells me. My name is August. You know, Lark, it takes me a long time to carve these masks. okay? I'm not sure what the August is on about, so I just start looking around for an easy mask to grab. I'm very short, and the wood structure is made for taller humans. If you spent a long, long time making something, getting all the details right, putting your love into it, and someone just came one day and took it away without giving you anything in return, how would you feel? I stop. My home. My nest. My Claretta. Bad, I answer. Well, I would also feel bad if someone took a mask from me. Do you want me to feel bad, Lark? I'm reaching out to grab a mask, but something in the words makes me stop, my mind without any input from me imagining the August standing in the rain, screaming out for Claretta like I did back then. My hand drops back down to my side. The August can feel that way too, huh? I glower up at the wrinkly human. It's an interesting thought, I suppose, but of course I don't care. Why would I care? I eat people. I kill them. What happens to anyone else, how anyone else feels, is not my problem. Of course I'm going to take the stupid mask. Yet my hand does not move back up to steal one. I don't have any money, I admit. But I need a mask. The August nods as if it expected this. Well, if you want to do some work for me, I think that would be a fair trade for the work I put into them. I would be happy with that. Would you be happy with that? Happier than just having the mask and being done with it? Still, I nod, slowly but firmly. Okay. What do you want me to do? It smiles, words warm and voice calm. Somehow, this human felt even more Claretta-like than Claretta when it spoke. First, how about you choose what mask you like best? I have a lot of varieties. I glance around. They're all just wood in weird patterns. I don't really get why they're different from each other. The August laughs, putting a hand over its chest like I'd wounded it there. Ack, you've hurt my inner artist, little Lark. My pride might struggle to recover from that. They're animal masks, see? For the festival. He grabs a few, holding them out to me. This one is a cat, this one is a bug, you see. What is this human talking about? It's just weirdly shaped wood. No, wait. Wait, I kinda see it. Yeah, it's carved to look like the animals, just without the right colors or textures or movements. It's the shape. The cat one looks like a catzel, complete with ears that look like mine. I, of course, therefore do not at all want that mask. The whole point is to hide my features. The one that catches my eye is a wide-eyed mask with a funny faux beak. It looks like some kind of bird, which is perfect because I love birds. They can fly, just like I can in the song Claretta used to sing about me. I like this one best, I tell the August. Oh. The owl mask. Good choice. That's fitting for a lark. Huh. Oh, well, the lark and the owl. They're both birds, you know. That's what your name means. A lark is a kind of bird, beloved by people everywhere for its beauty and songs. Oh. Of course. Claretta was never singing about me in the first place. I grit my teeth, pulling the owl mask to my chest and squeezing it hard. Tears form in my eyes behind my webbing, and try as I might I can't will them away. So frustrating, so very, very frustrating. I can't control anything that's mine. Not even my own body. She never liked me. Lark, the August asks. Are you okay? I'm fine, I choke out, putting the mask on the way I saw the smaller human do it. Do I look less weird now? You look lovely, Lark, the human answers. It's a bit early to be wearing a festival mask, but I don't think anyone will mind. You shouldn't have to hide your face, though, if you don't want to. I want to, I assure it. The August just nods, and soon after starts to explain how I am to help it. The task seems easy and straightforward enough, even if it attracts more attention than I'd like. I agree. It's not like I have anything else to do. Festival masks. I call out, heart pounding as eyes turn my way. Cheaper when you buy in advance. Don't wait, get them today. Cloak clasped and mask secure, the humans have no way of knowing I'm not one of them. Apparently all the yelling helps the August get more people that do have money over to its stall, and that's all it needs as repayment. I'm not entirely sure I understand, but it's simple and I get to watch lots of humans without arousing suspicion. A few hours later an island starts to pass nearby, and the August starts to close its shop. I have performed your service, I intone at the human. So the mask is now mine, and you will not scream or cry when I leave with it. The August chuckles and shakes its head. The owl mask is yours. I promise to not scream or cry due to its absence. You are free to go, Lark. You've been a big help. The human looks at me, lips quirking upwards. Not a single shred of fear or tension is visible on its features. It's so different to anything I felt from Claretta. I don't have any response to its words, but nor do I leave. Lark, the August continues, do you have anywhere to stay tonight? I tense up, again faced with a question I don't know how to answer. The human starts talking again after my silence. I admit, I asked my customers about you, it says. I wanted to make sure no one was looking for a child your age. But they weren't. You're homeless, aren't you? I nod, slowly. My home was destroyed, I admit. And you don't have any parents. It's said like a statement. Well, I don't even know what parents are, so I'll wager the human is probably right on that. No, I agree. I don't. The human takes a deep breath, wearing one of the many human expressions I can't yet decipher. The fact that it's all wrinkly doesn't help either. I don't feel in danger, though, I just feel weighty. Like this decision the human is making is of great significance. If you wish, Lark, you are welcome to help me pack up and join me at my home tonight. We'll get you clean, get you food, get you a bed. Only if you want it. I don't take long to think about it. I probably should, but I don't. Everything feels wrong and out of control. Okay, I agree hesitantly. The human nods, lips quirking up once more. Mine do as well, not that the human can see underneath my new mask. I help the August pack things into the stand, the round parts of which apparently rotate to help it move anywhere the human wants to take it. I'm immediately fascinated as the human grabs the stand and starts to pull it along after itself. The August walks in the opposite direction to most of the other humans, moving further away from the stone buildings rather than towards or into them. We get closer and closer to the forest, in fact, eventually coming across a large structure at its edge, made of wood like the cart rather than stone like the buildings of the town. Leaving the cart stall structure by the side of the big structure, the two of us head inside. I can't help but look around in awe at the hinged entryway, the artificial cave within sectioned off into multiple areas, the vast array of structures inside that I've never, ever seen before. Well, Lark, the human asks. Welcome to my home. What do you think? I like it, I murmur, stepping slowly around and taking everything in. So enclosed, so many places to hang webs. It's neat. The things here are neat. It laughs again. Oh, how easily I could eat the human here. We're so far away from any others. It's a free meal. I'll definitely eat it. Later. Well, thank you. I made most everything myself, the house included. So, what would you like to eat? I have a few good vegetables from my garden, or... I ate already, I informed the August. It looks surprised, but nods in assent. How about a bath, then? I hesitate. Another word I don't know. Humans have so many of them. How should I respond? Well, I suppose if I agree I'll get to see what it actually is. Okay. I answer hesitantly. The human nods once more, setting off to do whatever it is a bath involves. Firstly, it's apparently drawing water from what looks like underground into a person-sized bucket in one of the enclosed rooms. Then it's making that water bubble a little and start having a bit of mist come out, which the August calls steam. Then it's... Well, you first, Lark, the August says. Get on in. Getting in. To the weird water which, as I approach, turns out to be warm. Hot, even. I poke at it. Definitely hot. Yet not painful. Slowly, I start to lift myself inside. Lark, wait. You should undress first. I freeze instantly, horror dawning on me. I have never seen a human without their fake skin on, at least not without taking it off the body myself. I just assumed I would never be in a situation where I would be expected to remove mine. What do I do? Do I just eat him? I should probably just be eating him anyway, right? What am I doing? Why am I here? Lark, the human asks slowly. I don't want to. I stammer, stepping away from the human and the bath. I'm not, please don't ask me to take it off. A lot more fear than I had intended creeps into my voice, and the human picks up on it. No, not like this. Not one that talks to me. Not one that gives me things. I don't want to. Lark, the August says, slowly and calmly. He kneels down to my height. You don't have to. Ever. Okay. I'm sorry. I let out a deep breath, nodding slowly. What does the human think of me? What is that expression on its face? Sadness? I'm safe for now, though. No, wait, I was never in any danger. My lie is safe for now. I think you will feel better after you take a bath, the August continues. You don't have to, but I promise this is a safe place for you. How about this? I will leave and close the door. You can take a bath with your clothes on, or with your clothes off, or you cannot take a bath at all. I will wait outside this room and I will not go in as long as you are in here. And I will never, ever touch you unless you ask me to. I promise, Lark. You can leave at any time, for any reason. But as long as you are here, you are safe. I have no words to bring against that. I only nod again, watching as he leaves the room and closes the door. There are no windows here, only a glowing series of symbols on the ceiling give light. I'm alone, and no one will see me unless someone opens that door. It's safe here, and I am very, very itchy. I'm not going to just blindly trust that human, of course. I claw through the coverings that hide my hands, setting up webs around the room that I can take down and hide before leaving. Then, gratefully, I start to undress, dropping my cloak and ripping my bandage-like webbing to shreds. It feels so good already, and I'm not even in whatever a bath is. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the human, like I did with Claretta. Maybe it's making me misunderstand on purpose, somehow. Maybe it'll come in here, maybe it'll see what I really am. Fine. If it does, it dies. I'm hungry anyway. I look forward to it. I get in the bath. The human never comes in. It feels nice. I glance up at her with a raised eyebrow. What? Skyhope is finally in sight, which more or less marks the end of our half-successful mission. Claretta sleeps fitfully on Bentley's shoulder and Penelope once again walks on her own, though her hand isn't yet fully regenerated. Yeah, I get that, I answer. I just don't understand why you're using that phrase to complain when it's something you'd probably ask someone to do to you. Nora physically staggers, making a wheezing noise like I just socked her in the gut. Did I just get verbally annihilated by Vita? She chokes. What? I ask again, looking around in confusion. Damn, Nora, I don't even think she did it on purpose, Orville comments. How does that feel? Watcher's eyes, it doesn't end, she announces, starting to bellow out laughter. Mercy, mercy. She's got a point, Penelope chimes in. If you really hated the mission that much, Nora, you shouldn't be going out of your way to give it a good time. Stop. Nora begs, now laughing so hard she's barely able to breathe. Stop, I've already been killed. Penelope smirks and Bentley blushes. Soam just glowers. I'm even more lost than I was before, torn between happiness that my team is happy and that creeping feeling that I'm somehow the butt of a joke I don't quite understand. Teenagers, Soam hisses derisively. Stay focused, will you? The mission isn't over until we're back behind the walls. Jeremy, she fake gasps. Have you made a nest in the infirmary? The young man starts to get up, Penelope immediately removing her foot and offering him her good hand instead. He takes it, his messy black hair and slightly gap-toothed grin giving him a boyish look. The guy's no slouch, though, possessing a decently sized soul that feels like a knot of tree roots thriving in damp soil. A woman fit to be queen, sent in my time of need. Jeremy announces, his voice half joyful and half dead-ass exhausted. Truly, the Watcher does care for us. Penelope finishes pulling him up, chuckling lightly. Don't flatter me too much, or I'll start to expect it. Have you left the infirmary at all since I departed? Pretty much no. It's been bad here. Almost everyone's been coming back injured if they come back at all. Then the branch leader officially got the Templars involved to help us, and now they're coming back injured too. Penelope scowls. Can't the Templars hire their own biomancers instead of mooching ours? Don't ask me, Jeremy shrugs. I just eat, sleep and heal. Don't have time to question stuff like that. I am so glad you're back, Penelope. Don't be too glad, Penelope mutters. I'll help where I can, but I have duties outside the Hunters Guild, you know. Who's this guy, Penelope? I ask. This is Jeremy, she answers. Jeremy, Vita. Didn't I tell you about him back before we left? I shrug. I dunno, I guess I kinda remember you talking about another biomancer. We brought back someone else that needs healing, but she's a healer herself, so maybe she can help when she wakes up. He grimaces. Normally I'd never ask a patient to work, but we're pretty damn desperate. Come on, Penelope, couldn't you have healed her on the way over? I did my best, she answers, raising her still regenerating hand. Each finger is barely past the first knuckle. It's about 10 hours to Sky Canyon, Penelope answers. I'd take over for you, but I'm about to collapse as well. Gratefully, we move to follow his advice. I already have my armor half off by the time I get up to our room. I finish stripping it off, not giving a single shit how much the rest of me is also covered with muck and gore. I flop onto my bed, curl around my favorite stuffed crow, and pass blissfully into sleep. Waking up naturally, with no impending monster attack or other crisis to attend to, is a somewhat novel experience after the 2-week round trip where we rescued Claretta. I'm fairly certain Nora and Penelope fell asleep in here with me, but both of them are gone when I wake up. How long have I been out? I continue to lay motionless for a while, cuddling Roscoe and enjoying the simple comfort of a warm bed. I still feel exhausted, but I should get up. I bet my family's worried. I sigh, pulling myself out of bed. My stomach starts yelling at me, demanding we go to the mess hall first and then see my family. I have to admit, that's a good idea. I grope around exhaustedly for my armor and spear, hands coming up empty for each. What? They're gone. I groan in annoyance. Penelope or Nora probably took my stuff to get cleaned. I don't actually have any other outfits, though, other than the uncomfortably fancy ones Penelope got me. Meh, screw it. I'll head to the mess hall in my underthings. It's enough clothing to be technically decent. Speaking of Nora, she and the boys are also apparently in the mess hall, so I nab as much stew as I can carry and head their way, sitting down next to them. Oh, hey Vita. You're looking significantly less dressed than usual, Nora greets. Yeah, well, somebody took my armor, I grumble. Have you considered, I don't know, wearing something other than armor? Orville asks. I glower at him while I take a bite of stew, swallowing it immediately. No, I answer firmly. Vita is very diligent. Bentley observes. We took everyone's armor to get cleaned, Nora explains. It's not going to be ready for a few hours, probably. You're going to have to put something else on. I scowl, shoveling more food down my throat. I am not putting that dress on again, I insist. Okay, then just wear something else. If you keep wearing what you're wearing you're gonna flash sideboob at somebody, Vita, which is a thing you actually kind of have, now, Nora says matter-of-factly. You're growing pretty fast, girl. You need to pay attention to that, or you'll be getting all kinds of attention that you don't want. I take another few bites. You wear this shit all the time, though, I point out. Vita, I like that kind of attention, Nora answers. You don't. Right? I glance up at my team. Bentley just looks a bit concerned for me and a bit confused, but Orville is very pointedly looking in a different direction and blushing. I begin to feel a blush of my own start to work its way across my face. Oh, I murmur quietly. Vita, you are an oblivious little dork, and I love that about you, but you're growing up, so you gotta start paying attention to other people a bit more. Okay. She flashes me a wry grin as I nod awkwardly, focusing my attention a bit further into my teammates' souls. Yep, people are uncomfortable, and I probably could have figured that out before ever sitting down if I'd been paying attention. Yet I hadn't thought to give them more than a passing glance. You took my cloak away with my armor, I mumble. That's the only other thing I wear. My other clothes had so many holes in them that somebody threw them away when I put them in the laundry. Nora sighs. Of course. Orville, can you lend her an outfit or something? Why me? The mage grumbles. Because Bentley and I are like twice her height. Any shirt I gave her would be a dress. Okay, fine, Orville grumbles. Come on, Vita, we'll get you something. Wait, I insist. Let me get some more stew first. I don't care how incredibly embarrassed I am right now, I am not leaving without finishing my meal. I head back and refill my huge bowl, then return to chomp down on it as quickly as I can. Nora laughs. Watcher's eyes, Vita, it's no wonder your tits are growing so fast. All that food has to be going somewhere. Nah, I grunt between bites. It's probably Penelope. And they're not that big, are they? What about Penelope? Bentley asks. Oh, right, I begin. Yeah, Penelope admitted before we left that she's been using her biomancy voodoo on my body to do stuff like this. Messing with my growth, making me conventionally attractive, whatever that means. No one responds. The table is utterly silent. Which, of course, is fine by me. I tear into my stew, happy to no longer be obligated to talk. Yeah, agreed. Nora stammers. I don't even know what to say to that. Did she ask you first? Nah, not at all, I admit. Isn't that illegal? Bentley whispers. Oh, it's super illegal, Orville insists. She could have her license revoked for that. She should have her license revoked for that. Do you think she's doing stuff like that to us? Bentley asks. I got the impression it's just me, I comment, taking another bite. You are really weirdly calm about this, Nora insists. I shrug, swallowing my stew. So what? Do you want me to be hysterical? We talked about it already. I yelled at her for not asking me first, she spouted a bunch of philosophical shit at me, and I made her promise to tell me this stuff beforehand. It's handled. I shrug again. She had good points. She had good points. I sigh with irritation, picking the stew bowl up to my mouth and shoveling the rest of it in. I really don't want to talk about this. Vita, biomancers have to respect other people's bodies or they just end up inhuman, Orville insists. You should be concerned about this. It is kind of scary, Bentley mumbles. It's not right for Penelope to do that to you. I would just feel violated, you know. Nora agrees, mouth agape. I don't like the idea of someone going in and just turning my body into something else, something that might not be me. I get up, grab my bowl, and walk off to drop it with the dirty dishes. No one says anything. Can we go get me some more clothes now? I ask when I get back. Yeah, Orville agrees, standing up but refusing to look directly at me. Let's go, Vita, I think I have some stuff we can jury-rig to fit you. It's going to be a bit big, but you can tie it in place. Whatever, I grumble. Everything is too big. For me. I'm always hungry. Returning to the streets without armor on is both extremely familiar and extremely weird. I never noticed how comfortable I got with people fearing me. Fear is the right word for it, too. People in full expedition gear don't exactly frequent our part of town, and rarely do people wander around here as heavily armed as I do without being up to no good. Couple that with the fact that I'm less than 5 feet tall, and I'm like a glowing beacon that screams, deadly talent here. People my size don't keep that kind of gear without being able to prove they can use it. Without gear, however, people my size just look like a free mark. Yes, it's entirely possible that any random schmuck can blow your head up with a talent, but the thought is if I had a talent like that, I wouldn't be here. A risk? Sure. But people are desperate enough in this part of town to take that gamble. My face may be an unwashed mess but the clothes I borrowed from Orville are clean and devoid of holes. Not to mention I do actually have a bunch of money on me. If I'm stupid about where I go, I'm going to get attacked. Not that I plan on being stupid, of course. I descend into the bowels of my part of the city via a larger street, only ducking into alleyways when I'm sure no one is watching. Eventually I make my way to the bread stand I like, nodding to a surprised shopkeep. Hey, Dathis, I address him. Vita. Vita. It is you. Made it back alive I see. The old man grins in proud defiance of his toothlessness, to which I grin back. He's a shriveled old fellow, and while his soul isn't at all powerful, it is certainly warm. Soft and green, smelling like grass in the sunlight. He's a kind soul, one I'm glad also happens to run the cheapest bread stall in the city. This and every time, I promise. Death would be inconvenient. He chuckles amicably, nodding and preparing my usual order without instruction. That it would, that it would. Not here with your boyfriend today, eh? I tilt my head, having to think about that one. Do you mean Orville? He's not my boyfriend. Of course, of course. Dathis laughs. Well, I'm surprised to see you out of your armor for a change. Your new outfit is lovely. Thanks, I guess. It's Orville's. My face falls into a scowl. I don't get this apparent joke and I'm too tired to ask. I just wait in silence for the bread to finish, grabbing it all before I head to a nearby veggie vendor. You be careful hauling all that, Vita, Dathis calls after me. Don't get hurt now. I shrug, about the furthest thing from worried. If anything, he should be worried about anyone trying to mug me. I buy some tiny, slightly squishy and sad-looking vegetables before cutting away into an alley, heading home. I'll absolutely get mugged if anyone sees me unarmed with all this food, so I take a circuitous route there, avoiding human contact. Frankly, I probably would have done the same even if I had armor. I'm not exactly in a social mood today. After about an hour of meandering, my home finally hits the edge of my senses, the dozen hungry kids I call my siblings popping into the range of my soul sense. As do a half-dozen other people. I worm my senses deeper into one of my sisters, I think. The little black soul pulses, still growing its form and color like most children I sense. I focus, trying to get a read on her emotions. Concern. Fear. Resignation. Anger. Pain. I hear the stupid bastards before I can see them. Come on, brats. You know the drill. Money. Where is it? We don't have any today, one of my brothers protests. And mom or dad will be back soon, so you'd better. A sharp smacking sound cuts off his voice as I round the corner, fury and death on my face as I watch the aftermath of Jared getting backhanded across the face. All but the youngest kids are out in front of the shack, as if to bar entry. Though the assailants have their back to me, they turn to face my direction as I run into view. 5 of the 6 are men, or perhaps more accurately they're male. 2 of them are just boys, barely 13 or 14, though they loom just as aggressively over my family as the adults leading them. One of the younger one's eyes just about bulge out of his head when he spots me. Do I know him from somewhere? Oh, hey, free food. Thanks for fetching that for us, little miss, one of the pathetic degenerates sneers. Bring it right over here, will you? I certainly start to approach, but I have no intention of giving them a single crumb. Big sis, the little one cheers. She's the one I gave a piggyback to the other day, I think. Angelian. The girl has no visible wounds, but I can tell she's in significant pain. These bastards know to only bruise below the collarbone, to let the kids hide the evidence. They know to scare children enough to make them do just that, to hide from the people that should be helping them. Some of the kids look at me with fear, with guilt. As if getting their asses kicked, getting stolen from by these lowlifes, was their fault. All right, hand it over, another one of the assholes orders. I walk right next to him, glaring upwards. A shocked silence settles over the little nook that passes for our street. Even most of my own siblings are looking at me with surprise, nowhere near as happy as Angelian seems to be. They're scared for me. They think I've set myself up for a beating. They know vaguely that I'm a hunter, but they've never seen me fight. Most of them have never seen me mad either. He raises a hand to slap me, but my tendrils are already wrapping around his soul. Terror crawls onto his face in an instant, my spiritual arm squirming and squeezing. Disgusting filth. I don't even want to touch him. Go on, I hiss, taking a step forward. I'm not going to give you a damn thing. So hit me. He backs away, towards his group. All eyes are on me now. I step after him, squeezing his soul harder. That's her, the boy that was staring at me earlier whispers. She's Vita. She took my dad away. I glance at him again. Oh, that's right. I do know him. Grig's son. Wow, that feels like a lifetime ago. The kid's words seem to spur a bit more life into the confused thugs, all but the one I'm squeezing quickly recovering their bravado. This is her, the woman of the group asks. This is the tramp that put you and your mom on the streets? Of course. Isn't this just typical? The group moves to surround me, my blood boiling. Is this my fault? I really want to kill them, but I know I shouldn't. I don't have a ton of non-lethal options, though. I might be able to out-fistfight them, but I doubt it, especially if any of them have a knife. Maybe I can spook them all with soul grabs. Yeah, that might work. It really seems to freak people out. I just need to get them all in range at once. Let them surround me, let them get close. Leave her alone. Angelian screams, running at the gang as they close in on me. Guys, I'm fine. I insist. I got this. Back oh. Grig's son steps towards Angelian, smacking her in the side of the head with a kick that sends her sprawling to the dirt. Her neck twists at a terrible angle, a snapping sound ringing behind the dull thud of the impact. I watch in horror as her soul floats up from her body. All 6 of my family's assailants fall dead to the ground, their souls in my arms. Hide downstairs, I order the kids, dropping the food I'd brought. But go, I snap, and they all scurry to obey. Except Angelian. I eat 4 of the bastard souls. They don't deserve anything better. 2 others I put shards in, raising them as my revenants. I make sure Grig's son is one of them. I want him to hurt. The whole family is rotten. Take these bodies to the sewers, I order. Don't let anyone see you. Hide them in an outflow channel by the walls, then walk in with them and kill yourselves. What? Grig's little monster whispers, confusion and horror warring on his face. You heard me, murderer, I snarl. Follow my orders or I'll send you home with worse ones. The terrified revenants hop to the task, taking 2 bodies each. Carefully, delicately, I kneel down by Angelian's body, scooping up her soul and holding it safe. In a kind of desperate madness, I check her body, confirming what I already know. No pulse. No breathing. Dead. She's dead from a single kick. My sister. She'd be mad at me if I left the food here. I collect it off the ground, taking it inside and tossing it down the trapdoor to the other kids. Sorry, I mumble back. Just stay here until Lynn and Rowan come home. Okay. It never should have come to this. I should have killed them all the moment I saw them. I lift Angelian up in my arms, holding her close. Still warm. Her knife drops from her tiny hand, so I reach down and grab that too. My sister's soul is inside me. Dead does not mean gone. I'll bring her back. None of these thoughts stop the tears. They well up from my face, dripping down on a dead girl's body. I find myself surprised that I care this much, then disgusted that such a thing would be a surprise. But it is, isn't it? I barely even knew her name. I don't know how long I kneel there, holding my sister's corpse. I haven't just failed to repay my debt. I got my family killed. I can't imagine a more inexcusable failure. I should have killed them sooner. I should have killed those child-abusing bastards the moment I saw them. Damn it, damn it, damn it. I need a sack. Or a blanket. Something to hide the corpse. I head into the shack, a pang of bitter nostalgia hitting me as I find the wads of cloth that once served as my bed. I wrap Angelian's fragile body up, disguising her as a huge wad of rags. It might not fool everyone, but well, it doesn't really have to. I've seen people carrying around children's corpses before. No one likes to ask. Why? It's never a fun story. I bet, killed by a street thug would be a pretty common answer if people did ask, though. Weren't the broken Drakens supposed to protect my family in exchange for Lynn working for them? As soon as I make sure Angelian's body is safe, I have to go back to Penelope. She can help. She has to. The return to the Hunters Guild is slow, methodical, and automatic. I barely even think about where my steps are taking me, barely even notice the tears still running down my face. I hate this. I hate myself. Fury and despair boil inside my soul. I can't take it anymore. I'm tired of failure after failure. I'm tired of reacting, waiting, going with the flow, and letting things happen to me. It's those disgusting old habits from my early life rearing their ugly head again, isn't it? I only look at what's in front of me, only consider immediate problems and immediate survival. For everything else, I rely on others. Anyone that steps forward and tries even a little just pushes me around. I never really changed from that powerless orphan girl, in the end. Oh. I've made it back to the Hunters Guild. I feel for Penelope, finding her in the infirmary along with a few other souls I recognize but lack the mental wherewithal to immediately place. Something grassy. A brown soul that roils with purple fire. A fragmented soul, not yet woken up. The one soul I place immediately is Claretta's. I walked right next to it for the whole trip home, after all. It's an odd soul, fragmented and broken in places, but nowhere near to the degree of Fulvia's shattered mess. Right, that's the unconscious girl's name. Fulvia. Funny, I remember that name but not my own brother's. Anyway, Claretta's soul is strange because it has no color. Most souls seem to have something that feels like a color to me, but hers is all pressure and sound. A soul of music personified, obviously related to her musical metamancy talent that Penelope kept babbling about during the trip. Yet there's something wrong with it, a twisting, fetid feeling like her very spirit is trying to destroy itself. It's a frustrating and uncomfortable experience for my senses, though given recent experiences I now find myself capable of interpreting it. Claretta hates herself. I think she hates her talent, especially, which is pretty weird. I don't think I've ever even heard of someone hating their talent. My idle, distracted musings carry me into the infirmary. Claretta's despair is a pleasant thing to think about when the alternative is the corpse in my arms. I start to put faces and names to the souls I failed to recognize earlier. The grassy one is Penelope's biomancer friend, and the brown and purple fiery one is First Lord Erebus. What's Penelope's fiancé doing here? From the sound of their conversation, that's exactly what Penelope wants to know as well. Not at all acceptable. I barely got an hour of sleep before they woke me up to come down here, and you think you can just drag me away? You shouldn't even be here, Johann, this is my business. Not yours. I've only seen Lord Erebus once, so his thin, bird-like features and pale complexion surprise me again. What strikes me this time around, however, something that I didn't really think about too much the last time I saw him, is how much older he is than Penelope. He's probably at least 30 years old, and I'm fairly certain Penelope isn't even 20. All of these thoughts pass through my head with a perfect blandness, a fog over my mind dulling the impact of every impression. The tall man wears a fancy black suit, his words and tone all the perfect picture of politeness. I hardly see the issue of inviting my wife-to-be to dinner on the day of her triumphant return, he answers, unfazed in the face of Penelope's irritation. The man is so clearly used to dealing with her, it almost feels like his soul is rolling its eyes. Well, I regret to inform you that now is not a good time, Johann. In fact, there likely will not be a good time for at least a month. Between dealing with missions, healing the victims of our scouting excursions, investigating the creatures dropped by Hive Rock and my own research, it should be obvious that I am too busy for such frivolities. You should be too. Penelope, please. You know I work hard for this city. But a certain degree of occasional relaxation improves my ability to do so, it doesn't lessen it. The same goes for anyone. Besides, these sorts of jobs, are they truly the best use of your abilities? I, and no other, will be the judge of. Penelope cuts off her words, noticing my approach for the first time. Her angry expression melts instantly, shifting to surprise, confusion, and then a deep concern. Her true feelings even match her face. Vita, she prompts, carefully and quietly, as if her words would somehow break me. I brought. I stutter, words failing me completely as I try to think of an excuse. Something about a delivery for her. She can buy corpses legally, right? I hadn't really thought about the fact that other people would be here. Penelope simply walks forward, slowly reaching a hand up and lightly brushing her thumb between my nose and eye, smearing something wet. Oh yeah. I'm still crying. Much of what happens after that is a blur. I find myself pouring tears into the front of Penelope's shirt, clutching the rich fabric desperately when someone finally pries the corpse from my arms. My team arrives at some point, Nora, Bentley and Orville all there to witness me at my lowest. I vaguely recognize the sound of someone singing ring out through the infirmary, Claretta taking over healing duties from a wheelchair to her obvious dismay. Penelope shuffles myself and my team out of the room, holding my sister's corpse in her arms. I want her to give it back. It's mine. It's my failure. Though, didn't I come here to give it to her in the first place? I squeeze my stuffed animal tight, trying to shut off my senses by sheer force of will. Even if I can close my tear-filled eyes, however, the eye of my soul remains eternally open, gazing about the inside of my room with its mostly monochrome sight. Only the souls of Penelope's rats have color to my inner eye, and it's them I find myself focusing on. Her past subjects all died, but she gathered a new batch from somewhere and has been experimenting on them since well before our last mission. Penelope has apparently gotten quite good at lobotomizing things, and all 4 of her test subjects successfully had the useless parts of their brain removed without issue. Something about them annoys me now. Disturbs me, even. Something about them is so wrong, I want to kill them and take their souls immediately. I try to tear my inner eye away to look at something else, but my senses still feel them regardless. They're just not right. It's like the souls aren't moving as they should. I think I finally see what it is, delving deep to view them at the most detailed level. They're not growing. Other than undead, I've never seen a soul that doesn't. Even the Nora, who rapidly consumed their souls outside of a body, just as rapidly increased their size within one. But these rats aren't losing soul size or gaining it. They're just stagnant. This is probably big news. I should get off my bed and go tell her about it. Of course, like the failure I am, I don't. I don't move the slightest inch until Nora knocks on the door and lets herself in. Hey, Vita. Sorry, you doing okay? No, I mumble. Right, sorry. Of course not. Look, I hate to bother you, but First Lord Erebus is asking for you. There's a pause. No, Nora answers eventually. I will not do that. Oh, right. First Lord Erebus is important. Also he's technically my employer. Somehow this manages to be enough of a push to get my ass out of bed and head downstairs. I'm not even remotely within Penelope's guidelines for how I should look when talking to a First Lord, what with my messy hair, puffy eyes and borrowed clothes from a boy who, while not as tall as my other options, still has the better part of a foot on my height. I'm also still clutching a stuffed crow, but I don't see how that could offend anybody. Miss Vita, Lord Erebus addresses politely when he sees me. My condolences. What do you want? I grumble bluntly. I feel a flash of irritation from the man when he hears my words, but he lets it pass over him and continues as if nothing was ever amiss. If you would be so kind, I'd like you to lead me to the facility you've been working with Penelope in. I'm afraid my future wife has already left without me. I almost say, yeah, because she doesn't like you, but a small bit of survival instinct chokes that down into my throat. Whatever, I may as well. I need a distraction anyway. Right, okay. Follow me. I stomp out of the Hunters Guild, Lord Erebus easily keeping pace with his much longer legs. Incidentally, I was wondering, the man says pleasantly, have you ever heard the name Bars before? What kind of random-ass question is that? No, I answer honestly. It doesn't ring a bell. You sure? Didn't I ask you that the first time we met? Why would he ask me if I know some random guy at our interview? No, I'm pretty sure you didn't, Lord Erebus. Alright. Never mind, then. I stop walking for a second, the last thing I want to feel right now pinging on my senses. No, not now. I can't do this yet. Why does she have to be here? How did she find me? What's Lynn doing heading my way? Miss Vita, a calm voice asks. Miss Vita, you've stopped walking. Miss Vita. Lord Erebus prompts again. Are you quite alright? I feel my jaw open a bit, the haze over my mind roiling slightly at the frankly moronic audacity of the question. He seems a bit shocked at that response. I do not care. He narrows his eyes a little, less than amused by my insults. I must admit, I never expected someone personally recommended by my fiancé to be so childish. I understand and sympathize with your grief, young lady, but that is no reason to take your hostilities out on me. You are standing in the street and screaming at me while holding a stuffed animal, he calmly points out. Erebus just stares at me like I'm some kind of frustrating puzzle for a moment before bowing his head with unexpected politeness. Apologies. I've imposed upon you during a time of extreme stress. I, personally, like to throw myself into work when I grieve, but this is clearly not your way. Out of respect for your situation, I will continue my business with you at another time. Of course, I can tell he's actually fairly furious, but I'm currently incapable of giving a shit. He turns and departs without another word. Good riddance. The last thing Penelope and I need is someone poking their nose into our business. I'll deal with him later. Right now, I still have to face my mom. She emerges soon after Lord Erebus walks off, worry in her features, and yet there's a soft smile on her face. A smile. Looking at it claws my heart to shreds. I have to turn away. I can feel her pain, sharp and terrible, yet she's still smiling for me. Vita, Lynn greets softly. Lynn, I answer back. I don't deserve to call her mom. I heard what happened. From the kids. She moves forward, arms opening to hug me. To hug me. I step backwards. Sorry, I whisper. I'm sorry. It wasn't your fault, Lynn answers. But she's wrong. I don't want to hear it. Follow me, I manage to stutter. Penelope has her. Her eyes go wide, hope entering her soul. Your biomancer friend? I wince. She's just preserving the body, I clarify, choking up a little. Damn it, don't cry again. It's not sorry. I'm sorry. Penelope is there, casting her spells on a tiny, naked body. Angelian's shattered, twisted neck has been moved back into place, her body seeming almost peaceful. If not for the fact that I can tell it's a soulless husk, I may have thought her asleep. Penelope looks up at us as we enter, raising a slight eyebrow. Vita. And Miss Lynn. Welcome. Sorry, but I'm not quite done. You're welcome to watch, or not. Lynn steps forward, the agony in her soul becoming apparent on her features for the first time. She can't keep her brave face in front of the body, tears starting to well in her eyes. Oh, Angelian, she whispers, holding the corpse by the hand. My brave little Angelian. I'm so sorry. I should have been there. I should have seen it. Penelope mutters, staring at my mother with an awkwardness beyond anything I've ever seen in the normally composed woman. I'm terribly sorry, truly, but the work I'm doing is somewhat time-sensitive and I need you to, let go of the body. Oh. Of course. Lynn lets go and steps away, wiping her tears with a gloved hand. What, are you doing, exactly? Penelope frowns, turning her attention back to the corpse. Well, that should be obvious, shouldn't it? Vita, I assume you have her soul. Yeah, I do, I confirm. Whole and intact. Instinctively I move a hand up to my lower sternum, feeling at the skin over which Angelian's soul floats inside me, right above my own. Then we're going to bring her back, of course, Penelope finishes plainly. Immortality research, remember? I take a step away. Penelope, we can't do that yet. Sure we can, she answers nonchalantly. You've done it 3 times already. She's your sister, Lynn says softly. She already loves you. Hey now, being dead isn't so bad. Vitamin drops down from her hiding place in the ceiling, grinning with satisfaction as Lynn and Penelope both jump a little at her sudden appearance. Hey Mom. Hey Grandma. Vitamin? Lynn guesses, quickly recovering from her shock. I'm not a Dora anymore, Margaret complains, strolling in from the fridge area. She points at Angelian's corpse. Is that my new body? I'll take it, but I was hoping for something less small. It isn't, and you will not let anything bad happen to it, I growl at her. She snaps to attention and nods fervently. What's Vitamin talking about? You're working on a way to leave here safely. Since we have so much excess metal, we can adapt the same protections used on the building itself into tattoos, Theodora explains, also entering the room. Hypothetically, it should let us walk around safely right under a Templar's nose, as long as no one checks for a pulse. I was hoping for permission to test it out first, if that's okay, Mom, Vitamin continues. I'm the only one that's not helping much by being cooped up in here, and I'm fast enough to run away and hide if things go badly. I internally wince as I realize I worded that as an order, but the tattooed woman seems perfectly happy following it. Subjecting a child to mind-altering magic and forcing her into an eternity of servitude would be one of the most horrific breaches of human decency I can imagine. Rude, Vitamin comments, pulling a bug out of her ear and squishing it between her fingers. The point is, I wholeheartedly agree with Vita. We should continue our research while she keeps the human souls inside her safe. I recognize the desire to see the people you love again as soon as possible, but it would be better to wait. She may lose a few years in the interim, but she'll at least still be herself when she comes out the other side. We digest that in silence for a while, Lynn nodding slowly as tears drip silently down her cheeks. I squeeze Roscoe tighter, at least until Vitamin starts making grabby hands at me. After a moment's hesitation, I give her my bird friend and pick her up instead, letting me hug both of them at once. Her body is cold, but her soul is wonderful. So comforting. So safe. She'll never, ever hurt me. I disagree completely, Penelope says suddenly. A few years? Really? You think we're going to figure out how to bring the dead back to life in a few years? Laughable. If we wait, Angelian will lose decades of her life, at the least. We've hit nothing but problems on this so far, and you know it. If we wait until we figure everything out, this girl would be coming back unchanged to a world where everyone she knows and loves is completely different, having moved on without her. That seems like a far crueler fate to me. Oh please, Theodora counters, rolling her eyes. You just want another test subject. Theodora, I'm not that callous, Penelope snaps, genuinely offended. My point stands regardless of my alleged motivations anyway. I scowl. What sort of problems have you been having? I ask. Can I help out here more? Penelope shakes her head. Ultimately, our problem is that while we can reverse engineer some of what you do, we're still missing far, far too much. The biggest one is that your soul sight isn't a spell, so we can't copy it to see what you see. So even if we learn how to modify souls, we'd have no way of determining whether anything we do is working. We're completely blind on the animancy front, and the biomancy front as well. Let's just say there are reasons no one on Verdantop has figured it out before. We need more information on animancy. I nod, mind and emotions churning. The bubbling fury from before rises to the surface again as my gaze locks on Angelian's corpse. Then we keep waiting for now, while we get more information on animancy, I say. Penelope huffs. And how are we going to magically manifest a better understanding of animancy? You don't even know how your own talents work. I scowl, eyes hard. It's so simple. Everything fits together now. My path to setting things right, my path to protecting my family, and my path to getting stronger, they're all the same. Easy. I'll murder Capita, bring her back as a revenant, and make her tell us everything she knows. There's a short second of silence as Lynn's breath catches, the rest of the room slowly picking up on the frank seriousness of my declaration. Vita, if you go after Capita, the whole of the broken Drakens will come after us, Lynn warns. Good, I growl, the sight of my sister's snapped neck flashing in my memory. Let them come. I'm going to kill them too. All of them. Lynn clears her throat. Vita, you realize I'm technically a member of the Broken Drakens, right? I blink, my rage choking to a painful stop like half-vomited stomach acid. Well, I mean, obviously I didn't mean you. You're not a member because you want to be. Lynn has the audacity to grin a little. So, are you going to ask every single member of the Drakens if they wanted to be one before killing them, or? Yes, this seems more than a little extreme, Penelope chimes in. Where did that even come from? It makes for quite the dramatic declaration, but perhaps, lower the scope of your vengeance a tad. A blush blooms on my cheeks. Vitamin, the incorrigible rascal, starts to laugh. Well, I think it's a good idea, she agrees happily. Let's slaughter the bastards. It'll be feel-good fun. Yes, I don't really know these Broken Drakens at all, but they sound terrible, Margaret concurs. I imagine the city would be better off without them. Theodora opens her mouth to comment, then closes it, looking away. I sigh, almost emboldened by their support, but... No, Lynn and Penelope are right, I admit. Most people in the Drakens aren't responsible for the nasty stuff. There's probably a bunch of victims like my family. Oh, I suppose that makes sense, Margaret agrees again, because of course she does. Vitamin also shrugs, clearly fine with this too. Theodora relaxes, however, her soul no longer warring with itself on whether to agree with me. It's her that reminded me, the support is fake. Their opinions are fake, because I twisted them. I don't know what to do about it. Should I stop listening to them, since they'll just echo me? Or is ignoring their opinions because of that just going to dehumanize them even more? Then I'll get stronger first, I counter. It's not like we have to attack today. As much as I'd like to. What all can he do? Ugh, sounds like a nightmare for me or Lynn to fight. Although if I'm strong enough to yank his soul out, I doubt a kineticist can divert my tentacles. Considering his soul size, though I'll need to eat a lot. In which case, I know exactly what to do. When I leave, I immediately make my way back to the Hunters Guild. My armor and weapons have been returned, placed where I normally put them while I sleep. I gratefully don them, go downstairs to eat as much as I can manage, and then head for the gates. I leave Skyhope, on my own, without a word to anyone, and head straight for the forest. I'm hungry, and I'm done holding back. A barrier of tree and vine stands before me, 100 feet tall. There's a certain beauty to it. I've lived in the city my whole life, a world of beige, tan, and dun. Hardly a beautiful or safe place, but their colors I know and dangers I'm used to. Dark and vibrant greens, shady browns, dashes of red, yellow, blue and purple dotting the ground. These are colors I associate with danger beyond my understanding. This is the forest. This is not a land for humans, but a violent and murderous land of monsters and death. No wonder I'm so excited. Not even the weight of my self-loathing can still the hammering heart in my chest, the mouth-watering anticipation of an unrestrained, unrestricted feast. This horrible, alien place could be my grave. But if it's not, it will be my paradise. Wide lines of toxins and stone stem the tide of green, separating the forest from the fields. Hunters are far from the first vanguard against humanity's fight with the forest. Workers, often prisoners or slaves, survey the area around the fields day and night. Biomancers concoct deadly herbicides in a constant arms race against the plants that consume the poison, die from it, and feed their ever-stronger children with the sacrifice. We have to grow food somewhere, but anywhere we want to plant grain or vegetables is somewhere the forest wants to control instead. The moment I step over our desperate defenses against the encroaching green, I am in enemy territory. I don't have a biomancer with me. Even a single mistake could spell my death. I know this, yet I don't hesitate for a moment. As soon as I sense them, I make my way towards a small pack of small, shivering, silver-colored souls. Blade deceivers, I recognize them as. Six-legged beasts that only come up just above my ankle, they're a common danger to newer hunter teams. When hiding or resting, they look just like simple stones, chunks of rock on the ground that often stay still long enough for plants to grow over and around them, sometimes covering them entirely. In less than a second, however, they can unfold into a brutal collection of limbs and spikes, jagged and fully capable of ripping through leather armor plus the skin underneath it. A colony of them can climb over and tear a human to shreds in moments, inflicting so many wounds so quickly that even a team with a biomancer has no hope of healing them in time. Our team, of course, has never had a problem with them. Penelope can wipe them out at range with her talent, and even if it comes to a fight they have no chance of getting through Nora's armor. Not to mention that I can simply reap them like wheat. I walk directly towards the monsters, and once I'm close all 8 of them burst directly at me. They die without ever making contact. It's a wonderful, satisfying feeling. Now, what to do with the souls? I could just eat them and leave, but even a monster as weak as these has a soul noticeably larger than the shard I'd use to raise them. I could eat the soul, then take out a shard from myself to turn the body into what Grigg called a dreg zombie, a lifetime ago. That way, I still have a net gain in personal power. Zombies created by nothing other than one of my shards are phenomenally stupid, though. I could instead use the soul and a shard to make a zombie, which would be a much stronger and more intelligent minion but a slight loss in terms of food. The process is identical to making a revenant, but from what I remember of Grigg's undead-type lessons, these ones would technically be risen, not revenants. Blade deceivers are far too simple and stupid to share a name with revenants. An intelligent, weapon or magic-wielding human zombie with all the power it had in life is nowhere near the same category of threat as a monster that simply retains its instincts rather than being entirely mindless. I turned 2 of the blade deceivers into risen and the other 6 into dregs, just to get a handle on the difference. It's fairly obvious and immediate. The dregs shamble along slowly, staggering about the forest floor with a slow, awkward gait. I order one to run and it just trips. The risen, meanwhile, move just like they had in life, scuttling about with purpose and alacrity. They're actually kind of cute now that I can look at them without worrying about getting my tendons slit. Their spiny bodies twist and shift in dazzling patterns, fitting together like a seamless puzzle when they curl up into their rocky camouflage. Beady little eyes stare around hungrily from underneath their round bodies, glancing about with a simplistic yet still present intelligence. I pick one up in a gloved hand, petting a less sharp part of its body with a single finger. The risen deceiver squeaks happily. I grin, and set off to slaughter 100 more. My horde swells, though most of it is not composed of blade deceivers. Whenever I sense souls small enough for me to rip out without a struggle, I head towards them, carving a trail of death through the forest. At this point in my hunt, I've amassed 87 dregs of various creatures and 49 risen. It's not even that difficult to do. The only hard parts are remembering to be careful and knowing when to stop. If I go too deep into the forest, I will die. It's one thing to have finally found my conviction to push myself, it's another thing entirely to be suicidal about it. Even fodder I can slay with a thought has a chance, no matter how small, of killing me horribly. Anywhere in the forest, I'm one poison dart or bad cut away from death. It almost happened, in fact, my armor barely saving me from the needle of a creature I didn't realize could shoot me from outside my range. I retreated instantly, sending zombies to do the job for me, but it had been startlingly close. The deeper I go, the more likely deaths like that become. Even with an army, I'm scared to fight something like the Queen Burrow Hound. Or one of the Hive Rock monsters. I'd bet they can still heal from eating zombies. It's meat and a soul, same as any living thing. At the same time, however, I can't just stick to the safer parts of the forest. If I stay too shallow, I can't hide my undead horde from a threat just as big, humans. I'll be too worried about running into travelers or other hunters if I stick close to Skyhope or the road. Eventually, I make my decision by putting the decision off for later. I'm just going to slowly head deeper until something spooks me out of my comfort zone, reaping delicious monster souls all along the way. I don't have any real strategy for turning them into dregs or risen or just food, and I don't care. It's just so freeing. I have no need to hold back, no need to pretend to grow at a steady pace. I am here to annihilate, consume, and conquer. Everything would be so much easier if not for the damn church. It's so annoying. Now made my slaves, the deadly tentacle beasts climb up me and I don't feel a drop of fear at their touch. The zombies preen and coo, their quickly cooling bodies happily enjoying the scratches and pats I lavish them with as their reward for death. It's such a funny sound, I can't help it. I laugh some more. I sigh to myself, gripping my spear and twirling a light drill with it. Right, yeah. I've been having fun slaughtering the smaller stuff, but what I really need is some way to deal with high magic resistance and souls out of my weight class. Rowan's words echo in my mind, way back from when I first started training. Technique is more important than raw power. I've been relying on brute force to face my problems, which is nice when it works, but generally a shitty plan in the long term. How I use my talent, how familiar I am with its workings, how creative I can be with its application, that's a vital part of strength. It's challenging to train that area of myself, however, since I'm always afraid of being detected. Out here, alone, but for my pleasantly cuddly undead swarm, I'll have no such issues. Thankfully, I have no shortage of ideas on where to start. Developing a way to deal with stronger, more resistant foes is certainly a difficult challenge, but I've recently gotten an excellent push in the right direction: the hive rock monsters. Normally, damaging a person's physical body has no effect on their soul energy. Hive rock monster teeth shred bits of soul, however, cutting that energy which permeates around a person's body and trapping it in the bitten-off sections of flesh as they swallow. Normally, if you cut off a person's hand, the soul energy in that hand just returns to the body almost instantly. If I can figure out how to trap and steal it in chunks like those monsters, however, I can start chipping away at my target's magic resistance every time I stab them with my spear, eventually leaving them vulnerable to a soul yoink even if my strikes aren't otherwise deadly. But how do I make an object capable of scooping up bits of souls? Souls can touch souls, hive rock monster teeth, me, and nothing else that I know of. Making a spearhead out of a hive rock monster's tooth might do the trick, but I don't have any of those. But I have plenty of me, and plenty of souls. I can put souls in inanimate objects. What if I put one in my spear? Can it really be that simple? It turns out to not be that simple. Surrounded by undead bodyguards, I work through the night, eating one of them whenever I get tired. I eventually conclude that my theory is right: putting one of my soul shards in my spearhead is the way to go. But there's something wrong with the shard. When I put it in the spear, it tries to make a spear zombie, extending tendrils through the shaft and finding a grand total of 0 places it's capable of moving. I just end up with a normal spear that the Mist Watcher will likely reach up a tendril to and try to eat if I keep it around too long. I need a different kind of soul shard, one that will pull energy out from a body rather than push energy through one. I have to take my shard, take its magic and reverse it. I have absolutely no idea how to do this. Reverse it? A deep sensory dive into the nature of my shard reveals something frighteningly complex, yet on some level I can feel my intuition sparking, helping me start to understand. This, my talent insists, is something I am meant to do. My shards are mine. Mine to command, to shape into what I need them for. I am a manipulator not of the souls of the living, but souls beyond it. I am the queen of the broken and the dead, and it is my sovereign right to wrench my subjects into the form best suited to me. I flex my power, and it shifts. No longer a fragment of my capacity to create, it is now a shard of my skill at destruction. Good. I place it in my spear, feeling the shard grasp ravenously around the tip, eager to rip power out of flesh to add to its own. Perfect. Time to test it. The soul is a jittery vibration, strong and sharp. The monster, and geez, I'm getting so used to feeling out souls I'm starting to emotion read monsters is nervous to the point of paranoid, and my guess as to why is pretty clear. Underneath it are about a half-dozen tiny souls, solid black like a newborn baby's. The monster is protecting its kids. Common wisdom says that pissing off a monster mom is a one-way trip to meeting the watcher, but holders of common wisdom generally don't have 100 zombies to back them up. The problem with zombies is that, ultimately, they're not very strong. Everything I've killed in the forest so far is weaker than I am. When I start hunting for things outside my weight class, there's a solid chance I'll encounter a monster that my zombies will struggle to hurt at all. The worst-case scenario is a monster that recognizes I'm the biggest threat and doesn't get distracted by my minions as I try to stab them. A mom protecting her babies has no such luxury, however. My strongest zombies are probably the risen little disciples, thanks to their speed, intelligence, and the remains of the anticoagulant venom they had in life, though that last one will eventually run out and their dead bodies won't be able to produce more. Everything else is weaker and significantly dumber, and even the little disciples can't understand instructions more complicated than a couple words. I want my army to circle around the mother monster's position before we move in, but I don't have any way to order them to do so other than bringing my whole horde around the circle and manually ordering specific zombies to stay put. I'm not even sure why my zombies respond to verbal commands at all, but it's the only thing that seems to work. Something to look into later. For now, the monster has to know we're here, but as I predicted, it can't rush at us while protecting its nest. Once I have my minions set up, I peek out of the brush behind it to look at its body for the first time. Given the power packed into the monster's soul, I'm surprised to find that it's not all that much larger than a normal human. Gray, gleaming chitin covers the creature's entire body. Two thin, blade-like back limbs and 3 dangerously sharp forelimbs mark the creature as a pentapede, specifically an iron shell pentapede. No relation to Penta herself, of course. I recognize it because it's one of the creatures we were taught to look out for. Its chitin is absurdly tough, making it an exceptionally dangerous monster to fight but also an exceptionally valuable one. I could get a nice chunk of money if I bring this back to Skyhope. Unfortunately, I also have 0 chance of damaging it unless I jab my spear into a joint or one of the thin, black bands running along the front of its body that act as eyes. The monster has no head at all, just a compact, single-segment body with a mouth facing the ground. Its middle front leg is a devastating weapon, capable of spearing through nearly anything. As such, I probably want to avoid going for an eye shot and stick to attacking from behind. Right then. Let's see if this works. Attack, I order my horde. There's no thought and no subtlety from my zombies, they move as one, gleefully swarming towards a life to snuff out. The pentapede shrieks, standing up on its long legs in an attempt to intimidate my minions, but they of course are entirely unaffected. To my surprise, I see a huge nest underneath where the monster was laying, with many more eggs than I was expecting. Only some of them have souls. Now's not the time to wonder why, though. The iron shell pentapede lashes out furiously, smashing one of my risen to a pulp. The soul inside it shatters, scattering into hundreds of tiny pieces as the body is ripped apart beyond repair. That soul can never again make a risen, and the body will never again house a workable zombie, they're simply too far gone. I wrinkle my nose in frustration. I'd hope to be able to eat my horde when I'm done with them, but I won't get the chance if they die. I suppose I'd better get out there and start attacking, then. I move slowly towards the monster, trying to convince it that I'm less of a threat than the swarm blindly jumping at it. The pentapede is forced to stay put, however, guarding its nest with its body where it would likely otherwise overwhelm my whole army with speed and strength. Carefully, ever so carefully, I double-check that the shard is in my spear, line up a jab, and strike. My spearhead wedges into a crack in the monster's armor, yet barely even draws blood as the force of my attack is nowhere near enough to push further. That's not what I'm going for, however. The shard of soul in my spearhead reaches into the wound, drinking deep of my target's spirit before I pull the spear out and jump away from the furious pentapede as it nearly kicks my head off. I feel it. The monster's core is just a little bit damaged, and the shard in my spear is just a tiny bit stronger. Yes. Little by little, I strike from the giant bug's blind spots and damage its soul further and further. The hours spent picking an ideal target for my test were not wasted, and eventually the mother pentapede is poked enough by my soul-drinking spear that I can reach in a tentacle and kill it for good. Even forced to stand over its nest to shield its eggs, the damn monster slaughtered about 36 zombies before ultimately succumbing. I happily eat its deliciously massive soul, along with the shard I put in my spear. Now then, what to do with all these eggs? I don't know if it's possible to domesticate an iron shell pentapede, but I bet a lot of people would pay a lot of money to try. Why do only some of them have souls, though? Are they not all fertilized? Well, even if I can't sell baby pentapedes, I bet pentapede eggs are delicious. I carefully pick up one of the soulless eggs, trying to decide how many of them I can reasonably carry along with the mother's carcass, when I feel something on the inside of the egg shake. A tap, a kick. It startles me so much that I drop the egg, jumping backwards as it splatters open on the ground. Inside is a baby pentapede. Without warning, against the very instincts in my body, it starts to move. To my mounting horror and revulsion, the tiny, vulnerable creature uncurls itself, making wobbly, confused steps. It inhales, it coughs. It is, in every discernible way, very clearly alive except, of course, to the screaming sense in my mind that tells me it does not have a soul. Why does it not have a soul? How can it be alive without? A tendril far larger than any of my own can even dream of being enters my senses, upon me before I can even push the scream from my lungs. It's one of the seemingly infinite strands of the Mistwatcher's will that steal the souls of the dead, pulling them down into the god's ravenous maw. As it wraps around me, I am certain that somehow it will pluck my life away at that very moment. It curls and slides around my body, bringing back an infestation of nightmares upon my mind before ultimately letting go, ignoring me, and moving to the newborn five-legged beast. It does not take a soul, for there are no free souls here to take. I have collected what I could of my fallen zombies, and returned the soul in my spear to my body. No, this tendril possesses the opposite purpose today. It reaches inside itself, snaps, and pulls. The Mistwatcher creates a soul shard. Black, formless, it is nearly identical to the shards in the souled eggs, nearly identical to the shard in every unborn baby. The Church says the Mistwatcher grants souls to all creatures, and I witness now it is no overly zealous boast. Placing its shard inside the newborn pentapede, the creature twitches and spasms as its new soul pushes energy in and around its body, settling into place, entwining itself so intimately with the creature that removing it without causing death is impossible. As if by design. Soon, the twitching stops, the monster resumes its activities, and the horrible weight of the Mistwatcher's spiritual presence retreats back down through the island, intangible to all things other than souls and myself. The Mistwatcher gave it a soul, yet the monster had been moving, acting, thinking without one. That thing had been taking its first steps, breathing its first breaths, without ever having a soul in the first place. The truth I'd thought I'd known for certain was nothing but a baseless assumption. In reality, souls are not necessary for life. What is a festival? I asked the August. I've been living with the old man, it turns out that's why he's wrinkly, that means a human is old, for a few days now. I've been very careful about it, and I haven't bitten him even once. After all, he's kept every promise that he's made. So far. He doesn't try to touch me or see under my disguise. He doesn't order me around. He talks to me and teaches me things and I want to know, and he leaves me alone when I want him to. At the same time, however, he doesn't obey me. He only does what I tell him to if he feels like it, and often reprimands me for making demands at all. I can't force him to obey without revealing myself, either. It's a frustrating stalemate. I still find myself coming back to this home with him, however. I even feel comfortable enough to risk letting on that I don't know things that humans should know. Hence, my question about festivals. Have you never been to a festival before, Lark? The August asks. I have never heard of a festival, I grumble. That's why I'm asking you what it is. You said this was a festival mask, right? The mask is the bit that covers my face. What is the festival part? The August chuckles, shaking his head a little. Then he stops suddenly, frowning to himself and appearing to think. A festival is when a lot of people get together to celebrate something, the August answers slowly. It's a happy event where lots of people have fun together. We live here in New Talsi, but we still celebrate the upcoming festival about the founding of Skyhope, our capital. The sky itself bestowed on our island a great blessing of metal and glass, which made the crater that Skyhope was built in. We give the Mistwatcher our thanks with this celebration. I frown, understanding most of the words but trying to figure out how they fit with the ones I don't. I don't understand what that has to do with my mask. It is tradition for people to wear those masks to the festival. I sigh. What's tradition? This goes on for quite some time, and I learn many more new words. Many of the words are stupid or nonsensical, but I learn them anyway. Currently, the August and I are at the place the August sleeps. I like to watch him sleep. I don't go onto his bed or get anywhere near him, but it is easy to open the door to his room and watch him in the night. At first, I was concerned that the August would go back on his word. I was afraid that he would try to do something against me while I was away. I don't know why I care. Ultimately, he is food. No matter what he does, he will end up in my belly. I do not have the Cloretta anymore. When I start to bite someone, they will inevitably die. I suppose that is why I stay my teeth. The August is useful. Maybe even trustworthy. Maybe he won't betray me like the Cloretta did. I feel a spike of irritation for even thinking about this. He's food. I keep having to remind myself of that. The August and I walk towards town together, as we have every morning since I first decided to stay with him. Sometimes he asks me to help him sell things, and when I do he gives me weird stuff afterwards. He calls them toys, which apparently means that I am supposed to play with them. All of them are made out of wood and some have interesting aspects like moving parts or funny names. One of them, the pinwheel, spins when the wind hits it. I like to say its name. Pinwheel. 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 The August says that it will also spin if I run fast enough, but I am afraid to run anywhere humans can see me. They might catch on if they see my true speed. I do not want any of my prey catching on before I decide how best to hunt them. I haven't eaten for days. The hunger inside me roils, clambering and screaming for a fractional, temporary relief. It is infuriating. I know that humans and almost every other potential meal eventually start to suffer and die if they do not eat. I have no idea if or when this will happen to me. I do know that the longer I go without eating, the more ravenous my urges become. I don't want to eat lesser meals, however. Maybe if I have to, or there is some other creature that catches my eye. I have been tempted in the past to catch and eat large numbers of birds, so that one day I can fly. After learning the origin of my name, however, I don't really like thinking about birds. Humans it is. The August sets up his shop as he does every day. I stick around for a short while asking more questions and learning more words. Soon, though, I depart, not interested in trading my time away for more strange wooden trinkets. Today I have worked up enough courage to believe that I will not be found out should I enter the city proper. Well, enough courage and enough hunger, anyway. I do not think I can spend many more days starving alone with the August. The city is so much duller in color than the forest. The August says that this part of the island has so much salt in its soil that plants, trees and flowers and grass, which are somehow the same category of thing, cannot grow here. This makes it very difficult for the humans to get food, as they apparently eat plants somehow. The humans here trade the salt they pull out of the ground for plants that other humans pull out of the ground so that the humans here can eat and the humans in other places can, I don't know, have salt for some reason. The August bought some salty meat and said it tasted better that way, but to me it just smelled the same as every dead thing. It still startles me how many humans are here. I used to think all humans looked exactly the same, except for the strange detachable skin they wear. I'm starting to learn that they change the skin almost every day, and I have to figure out which human is which by using differences in their faces. It is not going well at all. The August is very wrinkly, so that helps a lot, but it turns out there are lots of humans that are wrinkly. I have accidentally talked to the wrong human more than once, though thankfully they never chase me when I run away afterwards. I am letting my mind wander again. I should really stop thinking about humans and start thinking about how to eat humans. They really are very interesting, though. As my feet patter slowly into the nest of stone buildings, the sheer variety of these delicious creatures stuns me anew. How am I supposed to figure out a hunting strategy when every single human appears to be doing something completely different? I guess I'll hunt the humans one at a time. It seems obvious now that I'm thinking about it. It's not as though I'm going to catch a bunch of them at once. I am more than a little frustrated how slow it will go and how long I will probably have to wait between meals. But how am I supposed to pick one human out of hundreds? Or is it thousands? The August told me more words for numbers, but I haven't actually counted the humans here. It is not as though I'll be able to figure out which ones I've already counted anyway. What's that in your hand? A small voice interrupts my thoughts and I turn to meet face to face with one of the humans that are my size. I glance down at the wooden figure I've been fiddling with. As much as I love my pinwheel, the August gave me something new recently. I haven't let go of it since. It's a toy, I answer. It's neat. Where did you get it? The small human grins broadly, showcasing a missing front tooth. I feel a moment of discomfort, imagining how awful it would be if I'd lost a tooth too. I shudder a little, letting the feeling pass. I haven't lost any teeth, so who cares? Besides, human teeth are so wimpy and blunt that they can't be worth much of anything to the poor creatures anyway. Oh no. Eating humans isn't going to blunt my teeth, is it? No. No, surely not. None of my other kin that I've run into have ever had their teeth changed, no matter how much they ate other creatures, and my other kin seem to eat much more indiscriminately than I do. August made it for me. Who is that? It's cool. It looks like a bird. My fingers clench, and I almost crush the object right then and there. Almost. It's a lark, I answer, my voice carefully even. August is a nice man. No, wait, that still sounds like. I swallow nothing but words, shutting up. Shutting up is really my only reliable skill when it comes to pretending to be human. Thankfully the small human laughs, which I don't know what that means exactly, but it has never preceded something bad happening to me. So far. Can you introduce me? Do you think you would make me something too? What's your name? I'm Sharif. Does your toy move? That was a lot of questions. I'm supposed to be the one asking questions. It would probably be weird not to answer, though. Yes, I can. I think he would make something if you paid or worked for him. My name is Lark. It does when I move it. Reluctantly, I demonstrate. Lifting up the wooden bird, I wiggle a lever on its back, somehow causing it to flap its wings up and down. The next time the August makes something like this, I am absolutely going to watch. Despite my distaste for its form, I'm very curious to how it moves. Are there strings inside? I could make a trap that moves something to the left when you pull a string down, so I can sort of imagine how it would work, but I don't remember the August ever working with threads. This Sharif human makes a bunch of strange noises, opening his eyes wide and putting his face up close to the bird. Can I play with it? No, I say immediately. It's mine. The human's expression drops into one I'm much more familiar with. It's not exactly the same as the expression on Claretta, but she had always had her mouth twisted downwards like that. Come on. Didn't your mom ever teach you to share? I don't have a mom. The small human blinks, opening its mouth and then closing it again without any sound coming out. It looks away from me. Sorry, the Sharif mutters quietly. You have a very cool mask. Yes. I am glad the small human recognizes my superior choice. So, why are you wearing it? I tilt my head slightly. Because I am hiding my face, I answer. Why are you hiding? The small human gasps. Are you wanted? Like an outlaw? I freeze, my heart almost skipping a beat. Something about that question puts an ache in my chest. I have no idea what an outlaw is, but... Are you wanted? I don't think so, I stammer. Not by the one person I want back, anyway. Well, okay. We should play together. You can keep your mask on and be an owl. Do you want to be friends? Do I want to be friends? I don't even know what that is. I have heard the word only once before. You made me choose between torturing my friend and watching her die. My whole body shudders at the memory. I get an urge to scream myself raw just like I had that night, but I clamp down on it. I am going to take you to August now, I say, not sure how else to answer. I don't trust myself to have a human-like response. Thankfully the Sharif seems satisfied with that, practically bouncing along behind me as I turn and exit the stone-built section of the human colony. Maybe the August can help me figure out what I'm supposed to do in situations like this. I should probably be scoping out a human that I want to hunt instead, but well, I soon find myself back at the August stall anyway, the Sharif trailing closely behind. Whatever. The Sharif is too small and doesn't smell like a good target at all. This is August, I say pointing up at the wrinkly old man. He is very good at answering questions. The August is messing with, well, I guess the word is probably either whittling or carving a piece of wood, but there is apparently a difference and I have no idea what the difference is. He looks up at my words, peering down from behind his shop stall. The sides of his mouth turn upwards as he looks over myself and to the Sharif. Well, I have to be, the August says. You certainly give me a lot of practice, Lark. Who's this? This is named Sharif, I answer, pointing at the Sharif. That question is easy. I can answer that one. Oh, wow, the Sharif exclaims. Toys and festival stuff. This is super cool. The August will give you things if you put on a mask and start yelling. I pause for a moment before amending that. Well, you have to yell at the things he tells you to yell, specifically. The August laughs and shakes his head. I don't need any advertising right now, the August says. I appreciate it, Lark, but why don't you two go play? You should spend time with other people your age. My age? Oh, maybe the human is small because it has not lived for very long and so it hasn't eaten enough yet. That kind of makes sense, although plenty of my siblings my age are much, much bigger than I am. Does age really matter? How old are you? I demand, pointing at the Sharif. 6 years old. The Sharif exclaims with what might be a hint of pride. I recognize pride, I think. I was proud of a lot of things I had. I don't have any of them anymore. What's a year? I ask. 10 months, the Sharif answers hesitantly, after a brief period of thought. What's a month? 30 days. It proclaims much more confidently. I do some quick math in my head. Why are you so small? I ask, scowling behind my mask. You're way older than me, but we're the same size. The Sharif seems surprised, its confidence instantly shattered. I snort. Maybe humans are just really bad at eating. I am not small, it insists incorrectly. Yes, I correct. You are. Now Lark, it's not nice to make fun of people for their height. The August insists, butting into our conversation. Sharif is a perfectly normal size for someone his age. I wrinkle my nose, not that anyone can see it. It's hard to believe that this tiny human has been alive for over 10 times as long as I have. I suppose I should just accept it, however. Maybe this is common knowledge among humans. Okay, I answer simply. Now, apologize to Sharif. I look up at the old man. Is this human trying to order me around? I guess I don't actually know the answer to that question. What's an apologize? I grumble, narrowing my eyes. It's where you say sorry to someone you hurt, and promise to try not to hurt them that way again. What is this stupid human talking about? I haven't touched Sharif, I point out. He isn't hurt. He's not hurt physically, Lark. You hurt his feelings. Look at him. I look at him, which I assume means the Sharif. Some humans are him, which means they are a man, and some are her, which means they are a woman, and I have no idea what decides that. Anyway, his face seems a bit weird, but he looks fine otherwise. He's not even crying. There must be something I'm missing. What's feelings? I ask. The pause from the August that comes afterwards almost makes me fear I've said something horribly wrong. However, the August simply stands up, exiting his stall and putting up a small sign. He waves to a human behind the stall next to his, asking if the other human can watch over his things. After an affirmation from the second human, he kneels down next to the Sharif and I and looks us over. Sharif, the August starts, is your mother or father around? No, Sharif answers. I'm with Nana today. But I ditched her in town. How about the three of us go find her? The August offers. I'll show Lark how to apologize to you, and then you two can play. We walk together for a while, back into the collection of stone structures where most of the humans reside. The August is quiet at the start, as he often is before starting an explanation that will end up taking a long time. I want to tell him to hurry up, but that never really helps, so there's no point in trying. When he finally speaks, his words are slow and even, a carefulness to them that exceeds even his usual clarity. Feelings, which are also called emotions, are something that all people experience, all the time, he starts. They are that hard to specify state of your mind that occurs as a reaction to your situation and the people around you. Words like happy or sad, angry or jealous, love or hate, those are feelings. I frown, and this time I'm the one taking a long time to respond. My mind churns through meanings, associations, and guesses. I don't need to know every word to start understanding. Like the bubbly, shaky thing that makes water come out of eyes, I say, keeping my eyes on the road and trying my best not to think about the only time I cried. Or when I want to hurt something that hurt me, even when I know I won't survive it. There's a pause. The August is probably giving me a look, but I can't understand his expression, so I don't bother taking my eyes off the road. You're describing sadness, the August explains. And anger. Those emotions have their time and place. They can be helpful to feel. They can teach you, show others you need help, or push you to act when you might otherwise be frightened. But they are not good emotions, generally. Jealousy isn't good either, nor hate. Jealousy is when you feel bad because someone else has things that are good, things you want. Hate is darker still. When the simple thought of someone makes you angry, when you want every success another person has to turn to failure, when you wish nothing but suffering on another. That is hate. No one but the very worst of us deserves to be hated, but plenty of weaker people hate for poor reasons, or no reason at all. People are going to come for you, and they are going to kill you, and there is nothing in the entire world I want more than that. Claretta wants me to suffer and die. She hates me, then. Does that mean she is weak, or does it mean I mime? I don't think I like feelings, I choke out. Oh, sorry Lark, the August says quickly. There are bad feelings, yes, but there are positive feelings too. Happiness is the most fundamental of them all, the state where you just feel good. Happiness comes from things like a warm bath, a hard-won victory, or the presence of a good friend. It's a beautiful feeling, something that all people ultimately strive for. Everyone wants to be happy. If you take someone's happiness away, that is a kind of pain. You don't want to be sad any more than you want to fall and skin your knee, do you Lark? Under my cloak, I claw at my chest with a hidden hand. No, I confirm. I do not. Then you should apologize to Sharif for making him sad. I turn to the small human. I don't really want to apologize to him, because promising not to point out how small he is seems like a hassle. It's just true, it's not something to feel bad about. I apologize anyway, because the August tells me to and because the Sharif felt bad no matter what I thought he should have felt. That's how humans work, I guess, so that is what I will do. I'm sorry, Sharif, I mumble. I won't call you small again. The definitely not small even though he is human nods, apparently already back to his former energy. It's okay, Lark. I forgive you. I nod, deciding to assume that concludes this odd human ritual. I just have one more question. How do I be happy? I ask the August. That is a question many people spend their whole lives trying to answer, Lark, the August tells me. But I'm very old and I've had a long time to think about it, so I'll do my best to give you a head start. The most wonderful and beautiful part of being human, if we can harness it, is the fact that we can be happy by bringing happiness to others. He kneels down, staring intently at both myself and the Sharif. The more you spread happiness, the happier you will be. And the happier you make those around you, the more they will return that happiness to you. Be kind, children. Think of others before yourself. It's not an easy thing to do. Start small, with those you love. But I promise you, there is no greater joy than from kindness. Trust in an old man who has tried everything else. He stands back up and we start to walk again, leaving me with yet more questions. I'm not sure where to start asking them though. Soon, we arrive at an open area, and although I've made no progress on finding a human to eat, we do find the Sharif's Nana and he and I start to play. At first, the game is simple. I am supposed to touch him, and then once I do I am supposed to not get touched in return. It is a good game. Good training for survival, although the Sharif is exceptionally bad at it. He would be dead if he went into the forest. I suppose that's probably why most humans don't live there. The Sharif gasps for air, leaning over with his hands on his knees. This is too hard. You're too fast. If you don't slow down, I can't catch you. Yes, I say blandly. I'm not supposed to get caught, right? It's not fun if I can't win. I suppose this is kind of boring. Okay, I agree. I won't use my legs. What? That would be way too easy. No it won't, I insist. You're slow, but you're not that slow. He doesn't say anything else, and just starts chasing me again with renewed vigor. I squat down and start scuttling around on my two visible arms, taking care to store and hold my wooden lark with one of the hands hidden inside my cloak. This is much more difficult, and I find myself grinning under my mask as the Sharif gets closer and closer to tagging me. Before I know it, more and more of the small humans my size have arrived, joining the Sharif in an attempt to catch me. I experience a brief moment of panic as they surround me, moving in from all sides, their hands getting closer and closer until eventually they tap me lightly. It doesn't hurt at all. Nothing bad happens to me. I stop moving, clamping down on the instinct to bite them in retaliation. I just sit there, doing nothing. I can't eat anyone with so many humans watching. You're supposed to tag us now. The Sharif reminds me. Oh, right. After a moment's hesitation, I scuttle after some nearby humans. They shriek with laughter, scattering every which way. After a little while, I feel something bubbling up in my chest, and without any conscious attempt from myself I start to laugh as well. Oh. So that's what it means. This is what it feels like. A grin wider than any other blossoms under my mask. This is fun. It's like outwitting dangerous prey, or learning interesting things about humans. I'm happy. That's what this is. Faraway islands pass lazily overhead as time flies away, my squeals of laughter joining that of the smaller humans. How am I supposed to eat them now? If they die, how will they play with me? Sometimes, a tall human comes and takes a member of the game away, which is annoying. But it doesn't matter, as long as the game goes on. Sharif. A tall human I've never seen before stomps towards us. Most of the small humans stop running, staring at the newcomer with the wide-eyed look of prey realizing a predator has arrived. What are you doing here? The new human demands. Look at you. You're filthy, there's a hole in your new pants, you're associating with this disgusting riffraff. I can't believe this. This is exactly what you promised not to do. But Mom, the Sharif protests. The tall human struts right up, grabbing the Sharif by the wrist and yanking him away from myself and the other small humans. No buts, young man. This is unacceptable. She turns to the human the Sharif calls Nana. This is your fault too. We pay you explicitly to prevent this. I move forward as it drags the Sharif away from us, glowering behind my mask. How dare it take him away? Without that one I wouldn't have started playing at all. And now the other small ones are scattering. Hey! I snap. Leave him. We're having fun. Don't talk to us, the human orders. Stay away from my son. I watch them move away together, stewing in what I can now call rage. I suppose this solves my problem, at least. I know exactly which human in this colony I'll eat first. I don't think that I'll ever get used to being the center of attention. Whenever people look at me, my instinct is to assume that something is wrong. Growing up on the streets, you quickly learn that most attention is dangerous. Kids out here can get abused, kidnapped, or worse without provocation. Until I am very sure that someone doesn't mean me harm, I don't want them to even know I'm here. Years and years of that habit aren't going to go away, no matter how much I'm intellectually aware that I'm not in danger and that it is perfectly reasonable, at least currently, for everyone in the street to be staring at me with hanging jaws. At least I don't need to ask anyone to get out of the way. I am given a wide berth. I do my best to ignore all of the eyes on my back, finally reaching the Hunters Guild and stepping inside with a sigh of relief. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people in the Hunters Guild as well, more than usual, and the eyes of everyone inside just snap to me instead when I make my way to the front desk. I am exhausted. Dragging this giant corpse all the way back here was almost as much work as killing the damn thing in the first place. You have anyone here that knows how to skin one of these? I ask. The receptionist, whose name I haven't learned to this day, gives me an utterly dumbfounded look instead of responding. I scowl, not at all in the mood to have to deal with this sort of thing. It's an iron shell pentapede, I grumble. These are valuable, right? I killed it, but I don't think any of my weapons can skin it. What should I do? Well, we might have someone. I'll ask around. I also have a dozen or so pentapede eggs. They're alive. I don't know if you can domesticate these or whatever, but do you think someone would buy them? You brought live monster eggs into the city. Yes. I snap. I just said that. Don't freak out about it, they're not going to hatch yet. Can I sell them or not? The receptionist just pulls a string underneath her desk that I'm fairly sure connects to a bell in the branch leader's office. This is quickly confirmed when I feel him getting up and moving down the stairs towards us. Everyone present in the lobby continues to stare at me until I turn and glower in their directions. I must look like a nightmare. I couldn't fit all of the eggs in my backpack, so I ended up making a makeshift satchel out of little disciple skin. It took me quite a few tries to put it together successfully, so most of the front of my body looks like a storm rolled through a butcher's shop. My boss finally shows up, the fat older man's eyes widening as he takes in my gruesome visage and even more gruesome cargo. Vita. Goodness, you been in the forest? No, I growl, I just found this thing wandering around in the middle of the main thoroughfare and figured I was hungry for fresh meat. He blinks, mine taking a while to catch up with the joke. I mean, your team has been here the entire time. How did you survive on your own? I just glower at the man for a few moments before eventually deciding that I am too damn hungry to continue this inane conversation for a second longer. I drop the section of the corpse I haven't been dragging along the ground, and set down the eggs as well. Look, I just brought these back because I thought they might be useful. Do what you want with them, I'm going to get some food. I haven't eaten anything for 2 days. Other than souls, anyway, but they don't have to know that. I leave my confused guildmates behind, wasting no time before grabbing myself a bowl and filling it with as much stew as I'm able. Sitting down at the closest table, I start to devour it. Soon I'm onto my second bowl, trying to slow down my consumption by sheer force of will so that I don't make myself sick. Now that I'm back in a familiar location, I can tell how much more range I've gotten on my soul sense just from this one outing. Another 100 yards, at least. Why have I not been doing this the entire time? I could be getting so much stronger so much faster, but I've been afraid? Of the Templars that will kill me the moment they have the opportunity anyway. I don't have anything to lose anymore. I should probably just head right back out when I'm done here. Whispers flow around the mess hall as I continue to fill my belly, sounds that I would normally tune out without a thought. Today, however, it's a little more difficult to ignore since everyone seems to be talking about me. Seriously? That little girl? The body is still in the lobby if you don't believe me. She must be insane. Even senior hunters don't go out alone. Yeah, there's no way. I helped Remus train her just a few months ago. She could barely fight. Look man, I believe you, but if I felt something like her out on a job I would turn the entire team around. I don't know what else to tell you. I keep to myself, trying to hide my face behind more stew. It doesn't feel like I'm that much stronger than when I first got here. I suppose I've been comparing myself more against Penelope than the average person, though, and she could probably kill everyone in Skyhope if she put her back into it. Even still, a lot of these people feel like they have bigger souls than I do. Am I missing something? I push my senses into and around the souls of the few random hunters, comparing them to my own. There's definitely something different. I'm not sure how to describe it. Density. Structure. Whatever it is, I'm starting to suspect that directly comparing myself to humans might be somewhat of a misleading measurement. I'm not growing because I don't grow anymore. My tentacles are getting longer, but my core isn't getting bigger the way a human soul would. It's just changing. Evolving. The realization brings a smile to my face. It's exciting, in a way. Validating. Me, as I am, it's not enough. The little street rat who got a lucky talent isn't a person that can fix the messes I made. But if I can become something more, then maybe I have a chance. Soon, my physical body can't take any more food. Which now that I think about it, is just a terrible design feature. I can eat as many souls as I want, but I can't have as much stew as I want. The human body sucks. I exit the mess hall after cleaning my bowl with my tongue and putting my dishes away. Penelope had been called from the infirmary into the main room where I left my corpse and the eggs, where she is now arguing with the branch leader. No, don't destroy them. Hell, I'll buy them. Johann would be ecstatic to have these. If you want them, you can just have them, Penelope, I say. Vita. Something so utterly alien happens at that moment that I doubt I will ever be able to convince myself that it is real. Penelope, of all people, suddenly bolts towards me and gives me a hug. Watcher's eyes, Vita, thank goodness you're alive. You just left without a word and your mother and I couldn't find you anywhere and holy shit you are absolutely disgusting, why did I touch you? The moment ends just as suddenly as Penelope pushes me away and starts trying desperately to wipe the monster guts off of her dress. I'm left stunned, and it isn't until Penelope finishes casting a spell to clean herself that the world seems possible again. Hi. I manage to say. Don't look at me like that. We were all worried about you. Did you really kill this? I shrug. It had to protect its nest so it couldn't move very well. But yes. I did. By yourself? I raise an eyebrow. No, I assembled a small army. Didn't you see the levy? I keep my words thick with sarcasm so everyone else will misinterpret them, but by the pause in the song of Penelope's soul, I know she understands what I really mean. And where is your army now? She answers playfully, not outwardly betraying a hint of anything other than a continuation of the joke. Disbanded, I reassure her. What, does she think I'm just going to leave an undead army outside the gates? I ate the lot of them. Sorry I made you worry, I guess. I just needed to burn off some steam. I admit, I do feel a lot better with a full belly and well over 100 souls newly digested. However, while I can almost feel the raw grouchiness fading away in the aura of my food coma, my thoughts of relaxation are quickly dashed. Angelian's soul rubs up against mine, pressed tightly against me just like Penta's. I don't have the luxury of calm. I don't have time. It's starting to get a bit tight inside my body, and with all the human souls I've been picking up whenever I come across one, I'm worried I'll run out of storage space. What am I going to do when I can't physically fit anymore? Do I start turning them into revenants? Or do I just start eating them, like the Mistwatcher would be doing anyway? That's a problem for future Vita. Present Vita has more than enough problems all on her own. The branch leader hurries over to me again, and thankfully it feels like he's calmed down quite a bit from the last time I saw him. Ah, Vita. So, we can certainly help you with managing quality materials like this, but I feel the need to remind you that the guild is currently understaffed and incredibly busy dealing with matters of security for the country. We've lost a lot of good hunters to the creatures that Hive Rock dropped on us, so I would like to emphasize the importance of taking a structured, planned mission if you feel the need to venture out into the forest again. I am certainly impressed by your performance, however. And surprised. I would have assumed your team working together would have struggled with an adult iron scale. I frown at him, declining to answer the obvious question and instead asking my own. Do you have a specific job you need me for right now? No, we are waiting for another team to get back before we. Okay, are there any smaller jobs I can do, or something? If you have work, I'll work. But if you don't, I'm going back out there. He, Penelope, and the smattering of onlookers don't seem to have a response to that. I feel the rest of my team moving closer, perhaps alerted by someone that I'm here or maybe just noticing the general commotion I seem to be causing. They enter the room, each apparently relieved to see me but somewhat intimidated by the heavy atmosphere. It's the branch leader who breaks the silence again. The portly middle-aged man is clearly having a difficult time coming up with something to say, taking a high level of caution and care with his words like he thinks they could somehow injure me. Vita. I know you're having a difficult time right now. I'm aware of some of the events from the other day, but I think at least for a little while, it will be better if you get rest. Waste of time, I dismiss. Well, I need hunters available. Moving in smaller groups has just led to casualties. We are withdrawing and doubling up teams to deal with these Hive Rock threats from now on, and I need your team on standby for the moment your partners return from their mission. This is not a good time for haste. We have learned that the hard way. Every moment you waste is a moment those black-toothed monsters are getting stronger, I argue, but whatever. You're the boss. I'll be sure to check back more often. Will that be enough? I glance her way. Honey, you're grieving, she continues. You're not thinking straight. This. She motions at the pentapede corpse. It's not you being efficient. It's you butting your head into a wall so you don't have to think about pain. It's a miracle you survived out there and you know it. I smirk, which doesn't seem to be the reaction Nora was expecting. It's not a miracle. It's just what I can do when I don't have to worry about people selling me out to the church. I've been holding back, I answer bluntly, because you all hold me back. Orville flinches. Hey, Nora growls, we are your team. We are your friends. Don't give us a load of shit and push us away. Penelope clears her throat. I don't think she means it that way. I think she's saying she's actually forced to limit her talent so she doesn't accidentally hit us with it. Isn't that right, Vita? I sigh. Right. Gotta keep the cover. At this point I almost feel like it would be worse for Penelope than for me if the truth got out. Maybe not. I'm just struggling to care. I'm tired of hiding this. I should be out fighting, not wasting my energy here. Yeah, I lie. Sorry guys, it's nothing personal. It's just way easier to kill stuff when I'm by myself because I don't have to worry about collateral. If I let loose, all of you would die. Shots of fear erupt in my senses all around me. It feels like just yesterday I wouldn't have had a chance in hell to pick up emotions from strangers. Now I'm not even trying and I still manage to do it. The lie does the trick, at least, and it's not even entirely a lie anyway. The rise in fear is accompanied by a drop in confusion, presumably from people putting together the incorrect picture of how I slew a powerful monster by myself. Talents. So horribly, incredibly unfair. Only Bentley feels truly unfazed by what's going on. Penelope knows how I actually killed the monster, or at least a lot more of the truth than anyone else. I look forward to seeing how she reacts to my new kind of soul shard. Yet Bentley believes the lie and it doesn't feel even a hint of fear at the revelation. In fact, he approaches me, towering over my head with the nearly 2 feet he has on my height. I know you don't normally like it, Bentley begins, but can I give you a hug? I blink. Well, at least he's asking this time. Sure, I allow, against my better judgment. He doesn't pick me up like I expected, leaning down to wrap his arms around me and rest his chin on my shoulder. Bentley has always been a happy guy, and in a lot of ways I tend to ignore him because of that. His optimism is often annoying, and I find myself struggling to respect anyone as stupid as he is. I consider Bentley a friend, and have ever since the first day when he showed me the mess hall, but he's the sort of friend that I spend more time being frustrated with than actually appreciating the company of. I don't know if that's a common or normal sort of friend to have, but I certainly have had plenty of people like that in my life. People I call friends, but ignore. Bentley might not be the smartest, but he certainly never ignores anyone. I really shouldn't look down on him. Sometimes, he understands things a lot better than I do. Angelian would never want you to do this, he says. My body goes rigid. My first instinct is to yell, to accuse him of barely knowing the girl for a couple hours, but really I know I can't say I spent much more time with her either. He continues to speak, driving the stake further. She loved you. When you love someone, you don't want them to be hurt. You don't want them to die. You don't want them to blame themselves for things that aren't their fault. Angelian is your sister, so she loves you. Please don't go back out alone. I didn't get hurt. I'm fine. But it's still dangerous. You don't have Penelope to heal you. You don't have Nora to protect you. You don't have Orville to back you up. All of us care about you too. Please don't go back out alone. Please don't blame yourself for what happened. I swallow. I could have stopped it. It's no longer about the forest and we both know it. But I could have stopped it. That's simply a fact. I messed up. I was too slow, too foolish. Nothing Bentley can say will change that. I was there when she died. I could have stopped it. But Bentley doesn't disagree with me. You are not who she would blame, is all he says. He doesn't add anything after that, and neither do I. Everything still hurts. No amount of words will change that. I want to go out and get things done. I can't let myself stop moving again. I'm so scared that if I let myself rest I'll just evolve back into the lazy, passive nobody that never puts any work into anything, and this will all happen again. Maybe some less deadly work wouldn't be remiss, though. I do lose everyone if I bite it. Maybe there's some work I can do in the city? I ask. It's a long shot. Hunters are fundamentally people that operate outside the walls. But we're also more or less fancy mercenaries, and sometimes people will come with requests for problems within the city. The branch leader clears his throat. Well, we have a few, actually. Some things that are nearby that you could do. If you're absolutely sure that you aren't tired. I haven't slept in days, but no, I'm not tired. I recently gorged myself on well over 100 souls, many of which were quite powerful. My body is sore and slow, but my soul only wants to keep going. What are they? I ask. Only then does Bentley release me from his hug, the branch leader handing me a folder which I immediately passed to Penelope. Read this for me, I demand. She glowers at me. Don't you know how to read? Yeah, I admit, but I'm really slow. You're faster. Grinding her teeth a little, she complies. The jobs are horrendously boring, most of which boil down to pest control. I may as well be spending my time hunting rats. I start to tune out a little, until one of the things Penelope says catches my ear. Say that one again, I order. She sighs dramatically, but complies. Strange noises coming from sewage exflow channel 463, Penelope recites, enunciating dutifully. Suspected to be squatters or monsters, intelligent enough to avoid detection. Scout requested. I'll take that one, I confirm, turning to leave immediately. Wait, Penelope calls. I turn back towards her just to watch her finish casting a spell, pulling the majority of the blood and guts off of my face and armor. There, now you won't look like a tiny serial killer, she says. Drop by our place soon, would you? I've collected quite a few tasks for you in the interim. I nod. Good. The more progress we make, the better. That actually gives me an idea. I walk over to where I left the eggs on the floor, pointing to a bunch of them. Since you want them anyway, keep these 6 for us and bring them. Penelope raises an eyebrow at me. Sorry, which 6? I glance down with the eyes in my head, realizing that I've been pointing with one arm and 5 tentacles. I point out the other 5 with my finger, mumble an apology, and then head on out. Moving at a brisk walk for about a block, I break into a full sprint the moment I'm out of sight from the Hunters Guild. The city has a lot of sewage, and therefore a lot of sewage exflow channels. I would have no hope of recognizing the majority of them by number, but I know a couple since they happen to be near where I live. For example, number 463 would be the channel closest to the shack. It's probably unrelated, but if it's not, well, let's just say I'm in deep shit.